I'm Ruth from Animal Exchange, and we have brought a cage today to look at. When I've been doing videos, I've been taking the animals in small containers to the house so that we can tape without the background noise of lots and lots of birds. And so we've had a number of people who think, wow, the cages are too small. So I brought a larger cage home today as an example of what you might want to use if you were having a conure for a pet. Now, lots of people will say conures are too noisy, and many of them are. And that's why I don't sell Nandays, Gendays, or Sun conures, because in the urban environment where my store is, we just don't have the space that's necessary for something that makes as much noise as they do. However, a little blue crown conure is what we've brought today, and we'll be looking at that later. But first I wanted to show you the cage and why I think the design of this cage is excellent. Number one, I can get into the cups from the outside of the cage. I don't need to climb inside. So if I'm away and I have a friend taking care of the bird, I can just take the cups out like so, either with the bracket or popping them out of the holder, and change them, put them back in, and load it back into the cage, like so. This cage has 3 cups. I wish it had 4, but 3 is better than 2. So I can use one for food. I'll use the far one for water, so he can't get his food quite so easily into the water. That doesn't mean he won't, but he won't be able to just take it from this cup and put it into this one. And I'll put treats and the things that I really want him to eat in another cup. These cups are particularly interesting because they're shiny, and so the bird will be attracted to them. If I decide I want him to eat something that is different from what he's eating now, I will put it in one of these shiny cups. I'll take his regular food and I'll put it in a bowl on the floor of the cage. That way he will have the food that he's used to eating, but he will not be able to get it as easily as with the cups right next to the perch. I've never quite figured out why we have the cups sitting next to the perch, actually. I don't have my dinner table here in front of me when I'm reading the paper and doing everything else, but we put our food right in the bird's face, and then we wonder why sometimes they get a little bit chubby. The food that I brought home today for you to look at is the types of things that I like to feed birds. And the first thing is everything I eat, with one exception, avocado. So we have some green beans. Ooh, my bird's watching to see whether he's going to get some of these soon. Peas, dark leafy greens. Yes, this is a lettuce, but it's dark. And I feed a lot of kale. Apple. My birds particularly like red delicious apple. And corn on the cob. Fresh corn on the cob is wonderful. Birds love it. They will chew it and sometimes make a mess, but they really do enjoy it. I brought home seeds too, because people too often think that it has to be in a bag labeled conure for them to feed it to their birds. The food that we feed routinely to ours is a mix of sunflower, safflower, buckwheat, and your basic parakeet mix, canary oats and white proso millet. Now, because blue crown conures are a little bit larger, I will give them some parrot mix too, which includes red peppers, don't kiss the bird after it eats the red pepper, safflower, peanuts, sunflower seed, and a lot of other little goodies that will make variety more interesting. But that doesn't mean he doesn't get other things too. If you haven't ever seen a monkey biscuit, that's what this is. And if you soak it in warm water or in juice, lots of birds like one particular kind of juice. I have a customer who's into mango juice for her bird right now. Oh, you like that idea, do you? These are something that you can hand to the bird as a treat, and you can also, as dry, and you can also soak it and they will enjoy it. This mix has lots of nuts and fruits in it, papaya, mango, diced pineapple, and shelled nuts. And if you have a really big bird, you've got nuts in the shell. even if you don't have a really big bird, a little bird will enjoy playing with these, so consider them toys when you have nuts in a shell. If you're not giving them enough veggies, it's always a good idea to have a dried veggie mix. And so this is a freeze-dried vegetable mix. I think it's good enough to make soup out of, but we do feed that to our birds. We certainly always give them spray millet, which everyone enjoys. Mixed vegetables. Pigeon mix, occasionally. They don't like a whole lot of the seeds in pigeon mix, but it's variety. And anything else that looks fresh and delicious. Please notice none of these have dye in them. I don't see any reason why we need to be feeding our birds dye. We have little flags here with the names of all the individual seeds and mixes that we offer our birds. And I'm telling you, the more variety, the better. This cage is what I brought our little blue-crowned conure home in. If you saw the movie Polly, you know that this is the species that was in that movie. And this is a little bird that's under a year old. It's a very nice little bird. There's 2 of them in this clutch, and he has been a delight. Now he's in a strange location with strange things and strange people, so he's a little more uncomfortable than he normally would be because birds are very apprehensive about new things. And so when you bring a bird home, it's always a few days before it really settles in and starts to do the things that you're going to expect a bird to do, like chirp and eat while you're watching and drink while you're watching. So right now he's a little off-put by the confusion and everything else. So let's talk a little bit more about the cage while we're at it. One of the things that I really don't like is horizontal bars in a cage. Yes, this one has them on the sides. And the reason I don't like them is because unless the cage is designed like this, with a couple extra verticals, it's really hard to keep the perch in place. And so if the bird pushes on it, it slides and then drops down. So you sometimes have to devise some unusual ways of keeping the perch solid in the cage, because the birds really don't like it when it moves all over. The cage perch needs to be about the diameter for 2/3 of the foot to go around. And you can see that this perch is maybe a little bit small because this is one of the larger conures. You know, your conures are all from South America, and some of them have bigger feet like the Patagonian conure, and your little green cheek conures, of course, are much tinier. The big cage has, as does the little cage, a pull-out tray. And so you can just pull that tray out. I use newspaper in the bottom of the tray, roll it up, put it in the garbage can, and put a fresh layer of newspaper in every day. Why every day? Because I want to see what my droppings look like. Long before a bird's behavior will tell you something's wrong, the droppings will frequently. And so I want to know what my droppings routinely look like, and I want to know when they change. Sometimes they change because of what he's had to eat, like blueberries really are a bit much. The other thing that many cages have is a pull-out grate. And the grate is something that will catch the droppings and make a mess. So I like to take the grate out if the cage design will permit it. This cage, depending on what kind of a bird I have in it, I may or may not be able to run it without the grate. If I have doves in this cage or a cockatiel in this cage, it will be fine. But if I have my little blue-crowned conure in this cage, he'll push this tray out, climb out the bottom of the cage, and have a wonderful time while you're at work. But let's just pretend he isn't going to do that. So I'm going to put his favorite treats on the floor of the cage, because I know he'll go down to get those. And it's a nice heavy ceramic bowl. He can't tip it over. As you see, my little conure's wing is clipped. And that's something that we feel is very important. If his wing were not clipped right now, he'd head right into the window, and I would have perhaps one less bird. He's in beautiful feather right now. He's probably getting ready to molt because all of his feathers on his right wing are still clipped. Okay, let's pop you in a new cage that you've never seen before. Not a problem. He will go in it whether he wants to or not. He'll explore it. And this door has a wonderful feature. First of all, he can't open the door from the inside. With the little cage, he could do that because of the design. So he can easily stay in this cage while you're gone without being able to escape. But if you're home and you want him to be out, look at this. It has a landing platform door. And does that work nicely or what? We'll see whether he's willing to try to come out when in fact there's all sorts of scary new things here. He probably won't, and that's fine. I don't have any problem with him staying in the cage. We have two perches in this cage. I prefer just one because I want him to have as much space as possible. So I might put a swing in the cage up high, and that's where he would spend most of his time because he'll always go up to the highest spot. He's investigating the bowls because, oh, they're shiny. And anything shiny appeals to a bird. It's a reflection, it's attractive, jewelry that you might be wearing, anything like that, birds just love. See how he's exploring everything with his beak? And the side of the cage where he was just playing actually has a breeding door, so that if I decide down the road I'm going to have him surgically sexed and breed him, I can hang a nest box on the outside of this cage, and hopefully I will produce more baby blue-crowned conures, which really are a wonderful species.